And we're going to get to the real basics, what it really means to connect with students, to do video production for student engagement and instructor presence. So we're here to have a good time. We're here to really connect with each other, to connect with our students, tell stories. And hopefully people had a look at the stuff that I sent out the other day, but if you didn't, no problem at all, because there's going to be no pressure at all today. We're just going to ease into our sessions. We've got 3 sessions. First one, we titled Bring Yourself, and that's all we can ask. Everyone's going to bring themselves today. If you want to appear on video, that's extra great. If you don't want to appear on video right now, you don't have to, but we got some stuff that's going to happen today where you're going to want to be on video. We've got a couple of breakout sessions that we've got planned. One breakout session, you're going to be all by yourself in a breakout session. And the other one, you're going to be chatting with some new friends or some old friends, depending on who you get stuck in a room with. Those breakout sessions can be a little tense because you don't know what's going to happen, who you're going to end up with, what's going to transpire. My friend Roy is here. He's going to be a co-host today. He helped out a lot with getting some of the videos that we're going to be looking at. Some of the exemplars that are not necessarily good exemplars, not necessarily bad exemplars. They're just exemplars, things for us to kind of get our teeth into and talk about. And Troy's here also. Troy's going to be one of our co-hosts. And we're just going to, today is about us, as I said. Today's about you, your stories, your reasons, your experiences. Just the reason that you are here today. And we want to explore the reason why you're here today and thinking about doing video production and thinking about connecting with people over this medium. It's going to be a lot of fun, hopefully. And let's see, we've got 16 people signed on so far, which is great. I'm going to expand my screen a little bit so I could see everybody. Got some pups here. Or is that a cat? Can't tell. It's a cat. That's nice. So I assume I'm not even going to ask how people's semesters are going because the semesters are going, right? They're going. That's all we can really ask for a semester is that it's going. And eventually it'll be over and then the next semester will start. So we're just going to kind of meet each other here where we are and just kind of relax, pour ourselves a beverage if you haven't got one. Some people might be drinking coffee this late. I've got an Irish whiskey here that I'm drinking. We won't do any introductions in the big session today because we're going to have a large-ish group. We had about 20 some odd people signed up, and we'll get going probably at 7:04. How's that? I won't wait until 7:05 because I'm anxious to get started. And again, this is video production for student engagement and instructor presence. If you're here for Calculus 1, you're in the wrong place. You're definitely in the wrong place if you're here for Calculus 1 and you expect me to teach you Calculus 1. See, Allie Blankenship is here. Hi, Allie.
Hey, Mike. I like your jokes.
Oh, really? At least somebody does. It's a little late. I had a big day today. I'm sure other people had a big day today. So we're going to kind of ease in today and we're going to take some breaths. I haven't done my yoga yet. I'm waiting for this class to be over and then I'm going to do some stretchy yoga. But this is going to be my yoga for the brain today going to just stretch it out and just kind of get my neck going. All right, it's 7:03. I'm anxious to get started. You're anxious to get started. If people come in, then they'll come in and they'll have to just catch up. So I'm Mike Bloom with the Studio for Teaching and Learning Innovation. I'm joined here. Let me make sure we're recording now. Let me just see if it's recording. Yep, it's recording.
Looks like it.
Not that I have anything great to say, but you know, I'm sure that Roy and Troy are going to have interesting things to say. Troy Davis is here from the Reader Media Center. And Roy and Troy, I told them to kind of just chill out today. If they have stuff to add, they'll be adding it. But they're going to be much more involved in the second to two sessions, but they're going to be helping out and talking about their perspectives as well. And I invited them to jump in whenever they're ready. So we've got 3 sessions in store for everyone, and I'm very excited about this new format that we have. For people who visited us last year, you know, it was very technical, and I thought it was really a great start, but I felt like, and other people have told me that there wasn't enough kind of hands-on stuff, and we're going to bring you some hands-on stuff today. You're going to get involved. You're going to actually get talking about what you want to accomplish. And so session 1 is going to be bring yourself. We're going to talk about personality, enthusiasm, why you're doing this, what your goals are, and you're going to be talking to each other, and you're going to be sharing why you want to do this, what kinds of recordings you want to make, what kind of class. If you were going to teach a class on something, I know not everyone is teaching a class. Some people are here just here for the video editing. Some people are here for the jokes, as Ali mentioned, you know. So you're going to bring yourself today. We're going to talk about stories and bringing your knowledge. We're going to talk about pacing, making sure that you provide the rhythm and the pacing for your class, and to kind of give students that space to learn from you. Now, remember, when you're recording videos, when you are doing your instructor presence and student engagement with your videos, sure, you want to teach them things, but they can learn from a book. They can learn from readings. They can learn from videos that you might share with them. But you're bringing something to them that they don't necessarily get from any place else when you're doing these video tutorials for them, when you're doing these video lessons for them. So today we're going to emphasize kind of bringing yourself. Next Thursday, we're going to be talking about how to bring your stuff. So how do you make your audio sound good? How do you make your video look good? What do you do about lighting? What do you do about the fancy stuff? So you notice today, I don't have any fancy stuff. I've got no green screen. I've got a green screen on a little hook here, and I've got a video to show you how you'll get that green screen on a little hook. Super easy, costs you $20, put it in any room in your house, but that's not for today. For today is just about us. So we're going to be talking about that fancy stuff next time. And then in the 3rd session, we're going to be putting it all together, right? So we're going to talk about editing, what we've got, and we're going to be talking about how we share these things. So before we get started, how does that sound? Any questions, anything that you want to kind of get off your chest before we jump into it? And I've learned to wait 20 seconds before I do anything. Because some people are like, their hand comes up a little bit. Okay, good. So I didn't wait exactly 20 seconds, but I think that we're all set to go. So if that sounds good to everyone, let's get started. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to jump right in, and we're going to start exploring our own reasons for being here. And we're going to talk about what the goals of your course or your video series are going to be, right? Because you need to have goals. And even if you don't have anything in mind, if you don't have a class that you're interested in doing, it's really important to think about some sort of project that you might have in mind. So what do you want to communicate over the course of the semester, right? So for me, let's say I love cooking I want to have a course. I want to have a vlog or a course or a podcast on cooking, and I want to teach people how to cook, right? So what do I want to have in an introductory video? I love this topic because, right? So why do I love cooking? I love cooking because whatever that might be. Or this topic is important because cooking is really important because it connects people, right? So I want to share that with the people that I'm actually teaching. I got interested in this topic when, right? So these are personal stories. These are connections that you're making. So I got interested in cooking when, and I might start my podcast like this. I might start my video series like this. When I really got, and here, oh, I've turned to the camera. I'm looking at the camera. And I'm telling you my story, right? So I know that my audience is over here. I'm not going to look over there. I'm going to look at the camera, but I know my audience is here. So I'm going to say, I really got interested in cooking when I was 11 years old. And most people, when they started cooking when they were 11 years old, they learned from their grandmother or their mother. Well, the same thing kind of happened with me. I learned from my grandmother, but I learned because my grandmother was such a bad cook. And it was very difficult for the whole family. We hated eating the food that she would make. It's terrible to say, but you know, she grew up poor. She didn't have a lot to work with, and she raised a family in Cuba, and they ate rice and beans basically every single day. Well, for an 11-year-old kid living in New York, it's very difficult for me to be eating the kind of repetitive food that I ate. So I hate to say it, I was a little bit of a pain in the neck. I would demand, can I cook one day a week? And I would cook when I started to be 11 years old. I started to cook meals. My favorite meal to cook was Hawaiian chicken. And maybe later in the course, I'm going to teach you my old-fashioned Hawaiian chicken that I used to make. But that's the reason I love cooking. And that's the reason I want to bring my love of cooking to you. Okay, so that may not be the best story, but it's a story. And now you're connected in some way to me, right? And you're connected to my story, and you're interested in what I've got to say. So what I'm going to do is I want you all to think about, if I were doing, first, let's have a show of hands. Who has a very specific reason why they're here and they know a course that they want to create their videos for? So there are a few people who do. And so there are some people who may, there are some people who may not. But there's something that you're passionate about. There's something you're interested in. There's something that you want to teach people. So I want you now, take a few minutes, and if you don't have a specific idea now about what you want to do, I want you to think about what the goals for a course or a video series would be for you. And I want you to just jot that down and what you're interested in communicating. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn everyone loose into a breakout room in groups of 3. And I want you to tell that story. I want you to tell the story to the 2 people who you're with, and I want you to take turns. And we'll take probably only about 2 minutes each. And think about it in terms of this. You don't need to tell a story like I told, but think about some introductory language that might get you started into this. So, I love this topic because, or this topic is important because, or I got interested in this topic when, or here's an interesting story about the topic that I think might connect you to the material, right? So really great prompts for an introductory video that you might be doing in a course, right? And remember why we're doing this. Remember why we are producing these videos. It's to connect to our students. It's to have the instructor be present in the moment. And it's about engaging with the students and make sure that they feel a connection to you. So just take a few minutes, jot that down. And when you go into the breakout rooms, it'd probably be nicer if the people who don't have their videos on right now, if you turn your videos on, just so people, the 2 people who I send you into the breakout room with, will be able to see you and make eye contact with you. Because one of the reasons that we're going into the breakout rooms is very important. When we're doing these video productions, when we are talking about instructor presence and student engagement, one of the really important things is the concept of an audience, right? And very often it's very difficult for us if we are trying to teach a class and we're trying to make a video to not know who our audience is, not to be talking to an audience. So we're going to be scaffolding our class today, and we're just going to have a little bit of an audience right now. And you're going to talk about the main overarching goals of a course that you might want to teach. So I told you a course that I might want to teach on cooking. I might teach a course on video production. I might teach a course on knitting. I might teach a course on pet care, whatever that is. And I'll get ready and I'll sort of send everyone to your breakout rooms right now. So let me start the breakout rooms. I'm going to assign them automatically. And we're going to say 3 to 4 participants per room so that we have enough people to kind of work with. And I think everyone's just going to disappear into their rooms. So does everyone know? Everyone know what you're going to be doing? Basically, you're going to give the cocktail party address of the course or the video series that you're passionate about, that you really want to teach. And you're going to introduce it in one of these following 4 ways, or you can think of another different way that you want to introduce it that's going to explain things to them. But the main thing is, remember, it's all about instructor presence. It's all about being there in the moment. It's all about engaging with the students and engaging with the audience. So be excited, be interested, show your personality. Okay, so let me see who we got here. Oh, I've got a lot of, let's see, Roy, you're going to be in a room with 3 people. And Troy, I'm just going to send everybody. Roy and Troy, you can go there and you can do your thing as well. I'm going to open all the rooms. Oh, it's nice to see everyone is making their way back. So was that difficult? Was it hard to do? Was it hard to kind of express yourself and what you're hoping to accomplish? Might have been hard for some people, easier for other people. So you heard a lot of stories. You told your own story, and and you heard 2 other people's stories. What were some of the effective communication elements that your colleagues used when they were explaining their topics?
There was an element of storytelling that I thought was really interesting in a couple of the, the plans for courses or passions. So yeah, stories were great.
Mm-hmm.
The other people seem to be.
I wanted to say. Oh,
Tony, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I was in a group with Mona, and she teach Arabic, and I loved the fact how she was telling a story as well, how she would like to make it more simplified for the students to communicate by talking about their day, as opposed to actually, I guess, teaching a lesson about it, but to communicate on something in common, like shoes or how your day started or what you had for breakfast.
Yeah, and that's another great thing that, not only can you use these tips to help your own presentations and your own video production, but students can really benefit from these ideas too when they're doing their own presentations as well. I think, Fred, you were going to make a comment?
Yeah, I was just going to say that in our chat room, everybody else seemed much more at ease in front of the camera than I am after all of this. I am sick of seeing myself on camera. It makes me less want to do less with the video. But maybe I'm just a minority of that. I'm not used to seeing myself, looking at myself much every day. And this last year, we've seen, and I noticed that with you, Mike, when you're looking at your screen and then you turn to the camera and you did your story, and it was completely natural. You're looking in the right place. Things like that. After, I've been teaching face to face. I haven't done a lot, but I've done a ton of Zooming for meetings and stuff. And I still am not sure these basic things about where to look, that kind of stuff. But other people seem to know.
Right. Yeah. And that's so important to have a concept of audience and to know, so like I'm talking to you and I'm looking like I'm talking to you over there, and that's fine. But then every once in a while, when I want to make that dramatic point, I'm still thinking about you, Fred, and I'm now going to talk, and I'm talking specifically to you, and I know that I'm talking to you, even though I can't see you. And it's much more effective, right, when I'm looking at the camera, and you feel it. You feel that immediate connection between us, even if I'm not looking at you over there on my screen, but I'm thinking about you. And it is difficult. It's a hard thing. It's a hard adjustment to make. And that's practice. A lot of that is practice. And a lot of that is knowing what your goals are. And if I know what my goals are, if I know my goal is to connect with the students, it makes it easier for me to make that turn and to look at the camera. David, I think you were going to say something.
Yes, I enjoyed the personal aspect of, typically when you're talking about a course, you're focused, at least as a student, you're focused on the content of the course. And I found it very interesting to talk with Audrey and Eric that, the personal aspect, that they're an instructor teaching this course, and, where they're coming from and all the work that goes into it. So I also just wanted to mention, I saw a fascinating article this morning. I'm going to share it in the chat about why it was about Zoom fatigue. And there was a study that just came out, from a psychologist explaining why that is. And as the previous speaker said, it's like, usually we don't walk around with a mirror in front of our face all day long looking at ourselves. And it's from a sort of an evolutionary perspective, it's very tiring because it's just not in our ken of experience. And also, having all of these different large faces, it's sort of this flight or fight response that brings up these atavistic responses. So I'll share it in the chat.
Yeah, that's great. And that actually, a lot of that has to do with how we have our Zoom session set up. I now always have my Zoom session set up for gallery view because I don't want to see somebody like pop, pop, pop and appear. So I don't know how everyone else has theirs set up, but I like mine in gallery view. And to get at not wanting to see yourself, your face all the time, I totally get that. There's no reason why you have to look at yourself on Zoom if you're self-conscious about that, because you can click on the little 3 dots next to your video and say, hide self-view. And now all of a sudden you're no longer there and you feel, because it's weird, right? If I'm talking and I think I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to myself and I can see myself, I can see my lips moving, which is really weird, but I can hide my self-view while I'm still looking at everyone else and they can see me. And that makes that self-consciousness a lot better. So yeah, absolutely. That could be really fatiguing to always be like paying attention. How am I looking? What am I doing? Am I nodding correctly? I wish
I had known that. How do I get it back? How
do you get back self-view? Let me see. Let me hide my self-view.
I love that though. That's fabulous.
So you go to view at the top right, and then you can say show self-view. And then you go back to showing your self-view.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah, so it's a lot more normal. It really helps for the Zoom fatigue to be able to not have to look at yourself all the time, right? So just a little stupid tip.
This course is already worth it right there.
Perfect. You made your money. You made your investment back. Anyone else? Anyone else have any comments about that?
Yeah. I was in the group with Logan and Mona as well. And one topic that came up repeatedly was kind of the idea of what does our audience want to hear? What, message would resonate most with them? How can we say something that will then engage them in the conversation, and trying to think about how we can integrate both stories to make that personal connection, but also relevant, but also have it be applicable to, the course content that the real message we're trying to get across. It's not easy.
No, absolutely not. And actually there was a really great workshop with Paul Heidemann last week. And Paul gave some really great advice that I'm going to share with you now. What he said is, do something for you. Do something that you enjoy, that you think is fun, that you think is funny. Because to always focus on what you think the other person wants to hear is exhausting, and it doesn't come across exactly right. But now, I told that story about my grandmother and what a terrible cook she is. I really don't care how you feel about that. I wanted to tell that story because it was meaningful to me. And that comes across, that passion, that interest, that enthusiasm. even if somebody doesn't care about what it is that you're saying, right? They know you care. And that's important. But that's a great point, Amy. Anyone else? Okay, well, let me share my screen back. And yeah, these were really great. I really enjoyed listening to your comments in that. So we've got some examples here. So what we're going to do now is you all shared your stories. You all kind of loosened up. You got your, whatever. We did our mountain pose and we did our stretching. Now we're going to do some downward dog. But before that, we're going to see some other people and how they do their things. So let me go ahead and make sure that I've got my share sound and my optimized for video clip before we see this. And we've got 4 examples of instructors or people who teach in some way at William and Mary, and they're giving their kind of spiel. They're doing their thing. And and as I said, these are not necessarily exemplars for good or for bad, but they're things that we can watch and we can learn from them. And we can see, oh, I could see myself doing that, or, oh, I can't do that. There's one especially that I can't do, and I'm sure you'll be able to guess which one it is. Well, there's 2 that I can't do, but they're for 2 completely different reasons.
So I'm Jawan Johnson. I'm a social historian here. No, let's go back. So I'm Jawan Johnson. I'm a social historian who focuses on the study of African American history and culture. Presently, I'm a postdoctoral fellow here at William and Mary. Hello, I'm Dr. Jawan Johnson, and I'd like to welcome you to African American Studies Research Methods and Resources, a course that I'm excited about this teaching this semester, and that I think you'll gain a lot from if you have an interest in research. In this course, we have 5 modules. The modules are sharing authority, where we work in tandem with community in a community-centered research process. Number 2, we are going to learn a bit about the field of Africana studies, African American studies, and most specifically, what are the distinctions of this particular research field. Next, we're going to go into the archives. We're going to talk about the archives as a particular place and space and the stories embedded in places outside of repositories. And number 4, okay, let me go back. Number 4, we're going to do African American history, African American genealogy. In order to really understand the life of African American people, it's important to delve into family history, which then leads us to place. We're going to do field research, and we're going to actually go to some places. Hopefully by that time, we'll be able to go to physical spaces and not just virtual ones. But we're going to have a wonderful opportunity of applying great research methods.
You're on mute.
I muted myself so that you guys could feel empowered by telling me that I muted myself. Thank you. Okay, I love this one for a lot of different reasons. What did you think of it?
Can I ask a really stupid basic question that I should know by now? Where is he looking when he's reading?
That's a great question. He is looking at the camera.
Okay, so what's he reading from?
Roy, you did the filming on this.
He had some notes. He had some notes, and I was trying to get him to not read from the notes. And when he eventually did, it's very natural, and his passion about history just came through. So for that, for this clip, I just want to show, like, you can use your mistakes, and it just kind of puts people at ease, I think, with the flubs, the bloopers that he went through.
Absolutely. As it makes him more human. Nobody said, oh boy, he doesn't know what he's talking about when he made that mistake. I laughed not at him. I laughed with him. I thought, that is really charming. because it's wonderful. And Fred, another point about where he's looking. So this is not a problem. I say, hey, it's Mike, and today we're going to be talking about video editing, or we're going to be talking about video production. And the thing that you're going to be learning today, and so I know kind of what I'm going to be saying. I could make a mistake. It doesn't matter if I make a mistake, but now I have notes that I need to read from. And I don't want to make it look like I'm reading from the notes. I have a minute-long introduction, and I've got 6 minutes of notes that I want to read from. So I do my minute-long introduction when I'm looking at the screen. And we're going to be talking about the possibility next time of using a teleprompter right on your screen there, which you can definitely do. But it's going to sound stilted. What might be better is I'm talking to you, and I'm on screen for the first minute. And now, very naturally, I'm going to look down, I'm going to have a slideshow going, and I'm going to read my notes in a very natural way. And you're not going to see it because I'm not going to be on video at this point. I'm going to take myself off of the video if I want to do something like that, right? But I've made that connection at the beginning by telling a story, by saying why this is really interesting to me. This period in Russian history is really fascinating. I love it because I was actually standing on this spot where this happened, and I could really feel it. So, and now you've connected with the students. You don't have to do that the whole 10 minutes that you're giving your lecture, right? So, but that's a great question, Fred. And yeah, don't feel the need to memorize everything. Don't feel the need to always be staring down the audience. You don't need to do that either. Other comments about that last one? Eric, you're on mute. I like saying that.
It struck me that his reaction when he made that flub, that's very common when you're talking to someone face to face. People do that all the time. And I think it's as soon as you feel that you're on camera and have to be perfect in your diction and flow without any interruptions or repeats to me, somewhere you don't really want to go. And he recovered from it beautifully, but it did sort of show me that he felt like he was reading a script rather than just talking.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes you do have to sort of read a script, but yeah.
Right.
Mike, am I looking at the camera right now? Do I look like I'm speaking directly to you?
It looks like you're speaking directly to me.
Okay, I'm not. I'm looking directly above the camera.
And so that can work, yeah.
The simplest thing you can do if you have a keyword outline is just to put it adjacent to or slightly above it. If you have two monitors, you can just put the second monitor up above the first one. Because actually I'm looking at a lovely scribbled pencil drawing that my daughter made. And if you have a 1 minute intro, you don't want to memorize it. What you do is if you write it out so that you know how you want to phrase things and practice from that a few times, you can then reduce it to a keyword outline and those phrases will come back to you. And so you'll sound like you're speaking extemporaneously, but in fact it's polished because you practiced it a few times. And
Eric is a shill.
Why do you go to the biology department for public speaking advice? Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for that vote of confidence.
Wait, what was that about, Eric? I was about to say that you're my shill from the speech department.
Well, yeah, but you call up Paul Heidman for all of your advice about it because he wrote one article about giving 1 minute presentations.
Oh no, because he was just the one who did his last thing last week.
He got a publication out of assignment he gives his biology students for giving a speech, and yeah, he's now the chairman of the Department of Communication here at William and Mary.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. No, he just gave a talk.
He's in the biology department, but nobody even knows we exist. So he's the go-to guy for speeches.
Oh, that's too bad. No, but I was gonna give a shout out to you, Eric, for being the speech person, and that's a great piece of advice. Don't drag me into this. All right. Anyway. So yeah, that's a great example of, I think, a way that you can. And the other thing that I think I want to point out is the more comfortable you are with video editing, the more comfortable you are making mistakes in front of the camera. Because I say to myself, oh, I can take multiple passes at this. I don't have to get it perfect. And I do that all the time. And so I'll make multiple passes, and the other thing is practice, practice, practice. You're not going to get it right the first time. You're not going to get it right the second time, but you'll become easy with talking to a camera and with talking in front of, you know, a group of people, knowing that there's a camera kind of as your intermediary. So that really is an important thing. So let me share my screen again, and we've got another one that we can look at. And we'll probably just take a look at one more, because this one, because I want to get you guys back on your horses, and we're going to do some more production. So this is one of my favorite ones. Oh, wait, I got to make sure that you can hear this. Oh, yeah, you can. Okay, good.
Muscarelli in the house. Do not attempt to adjust your computer screen, because we are in there. Hey, folks, my name is Steve Prince, and I'm the Director of Engagement at the Muscarelli Museum at William and Mary. Hey, Brother Roy. Hey, how you doing, man? All right. Looking good, man. I tell you, you got a good-looking bunch up in there. Man, y'all look good. So good to see you all today. And so good here to share with you just a little bit of information and so forth. You know, as I said, I'm the Director of Engagement at the Muscarelli Museum, and when the pandemic hit, it just put my whole job up on the side of his head in terms of I was normally going out and engaging with people out in the community, and I had to stop all that. So I developed this thing called Muscarelli in the House virtual art lessons. And these art lessons I basically share with you every week through YouTube. And so what I had to do, I had to create like some best practices. And I created 7 best practices for myself. And I'm gonna list them all for you. Number 1, I wanted to make sure that I was in a well-lit space, that everyone can see me and see me with clarity, that I wouldn't sit there and off in the dark and so forth. Again, I'm trying to promote the light and create the...
All right, well, you get the idea with that. It's a spectacular video, and you'll be able to see this whole thing. I'll share my slides with you afterwards. I really recommend that you watch his whole video. He's got some great tips in there, but you can't help but smile when you look at that. His enthusiasm is just absolutely infectious, and he loves what he does. I'm not saying that that's your personality, but you see his personality when he's doing that. Any comments about... That's the one I don't think I could ever do. He's just amazing. There's another one, but it's in Spanish.
That's almost exactly how mine are.
I could see that happening, Fred. Anybody else? Any comments? Any feedback on that? So
I think it's just an extraordinary rapport, isn't it? I mean, he's doing all the things that I'm worried about doing, but doing them as part of what he's doing. So he's looking aside and he's talking to people, and with no self-consciousness at all. I mean,
but you have self-consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Bring that. It's your personality.
Yeah. But it's just that sort of ease in front of the camera, which is I think that's a little unusual to see easy in front of the camera, to be honest. Right. Yeah. He's an unusual, extraordinary case, and he is, director of engagement, so you'd expect him to be a little bit more engaging than your average person. All right. I'm going to share my screen with you again. We're going to continue on our way. Yeah, this one is really great. This one is in Spanish. And let me just play a minute of this one, just so you can kind of see it.
Hola, mi nombre es Mateo Cantarello y en este vídeo les explicaré cómo, cuándo y por qué organizar una búsqueda del tesoro en su clase. En este vídeo nos enfocaremos en una búsqueda del tesoro en una clase de español de nivel intermedio, cuyo tema es el subjuntivo en cláusulas adjetivas o adjetivales.
So what I love about this one is how animated he is and how he really uses pacing to make sure that you can sort of see everything that he's doing, and so that you can be engaged with him. He's got a big smile on his face. He's very charming in his delivery, but it works for him. It's his personality. So we saw 3 completely different personalities, but they're all sharing in very, very quickly who they are, what they're about, and how students can engage with them, right? And, we're going to try that today. We're going to do that just in a little bit, actually coming up very soon. So let me share my screen with you again.
So I'm Jawan Johnson. I'm
Oops, stop, Jawan. Sorry.
So
now they're all playing. Oops. Okay, here we go. So here's Explorer number 2. Now, we talked about the goals of your actual course or your long-term podcast or whatever it was, whatever you were teaching, generally speaking. So one thing that you want to think about is, what am I communicating today, right? What's my goal for communication today? And again, think about some introductory language. So I love today's topic because it's really great to start with a little passion, a little, why am I teaching this? Why are you listening to this, right? Why am I not just assigning you a chapter in a book to read? There's got to be some reason why I'm actually here and why you're actually listening to me. Or today's topic is important because X, Y, Z. Or here's why I'm interested in today's topic. I got interested when this thing happened. So if it were me, I would say an interesting story about today's topic is, so here's me. I've got my cooking class. I'm teaching everyone about cooking. Today we're talking about mayonnaise. Now, wait a minute. Don't turn your TV sets off. Mayonnaise is amazing. I used to just buy mayonnaise all the time, but I was traveling in Spain. We were in Granada. It was New Year's Eve, actually. And I needed mayonnaise for something, and we had forgotten to buy mayonnaise. So what was I going to do? I looked up on the internet, seeing how I could make a substitution for mayonnaise. And in my desperation, I searched make mayonnaise. And you needed olive oil, you needed eggs, you needed some sort of acid. We had a lemon, and I had salt. So I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can make this. It didn't come out great. I'm not going to lie to you, but the seeds of my efforts were there. I said, okay, I can do this. I can make it better. And I made it better. And I'm going to teach you how I like to make mayonnaise. It's super simple. So, and not only is it super simple, it's so delicious. You're never going to want to buy mayonnaise again. You're going to want to make it all the time. Okay. So, a little bit of an introduction, a little bit of a story, and now I go into teaching you how to make mayonnaise. Much more interesting than if I started on, today we're going to make mayonnaise. Here's how you make the mayonnaise, right? You don't give a shit about making mayonnaise, but now all of a sudden, you want to know what my mayonnaise recipe is. Okay? And now you've engaged the students, and now the students want to continue watching what it is that you've got to teach them. So we're going to try something really interesting. I have this really cool idea, and in the next, we've got about 10 minutes left. So here's what I'm planning on doing. I'm planning on sending everyone to their own breakout rooms, or we don't even have to do it in breakout rooms. You guys can do it on your own if you want to do that. But we'll try it in a breakout room, and then we'll try to call everyone back. If it doesn't work, you can record it later. But we've got this URL, flipgrid.com/bloom9640. I'm going to put it in the chat so that you have access to it. Actually, I'm going to put it in the chat, but I'll send you all to your individual breakout rooms, and you'll go to this Flipgrid, and what's going to happen? I'll show you what's going to happen. You're going to end up in Flipgrid, and you're going to end up in this today's topic, right? So now I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to actually record a response. And when I record a response, who here has used Flipgrid? Okay, you guys are going to be Flipgrid converts when you see how cool and easy this is. So you're going to record a response. I'm going to say record a response, and it actually works while you're in your Zoom session, which is amazing. And now here it is, and then I'm just going to record myself, and I'll say, okay, record, and it'll give me a countdown. And I'll say, hey, this is Mike. And in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to make mayonnaise. And the really cool thing about this mayonnaise, it's a recipe that I actually got interested in when I was traveling in Spain and we were in Granada and blah, 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 right? So what are we doing here? I'm going to stop that. And I'm going to say next. And I'll say, hey, this is Mike. Here I am. And in this tutorial, I'm going to say next again. I'm going to I'm going to put in my name here, Michael Bloom, so everyone knows who I am. And I'm going to say submit. It's going to upload my video. I'm going to say done. And look, here it is. And then all of us can watch it. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to record you on the base level. This is bring yourself, right? So I want you to tell a story. I want you to be interested. I want you to think about what it is that you're teaching us today. And I want you to record it. A couple of minutes. That's all you need to do. And then we're going to take a look at it and we're going to talk about it in the next session. And the next session, we're going to talk about how you can improve it from as many different angles as possible. How you can have better lighting, how you can have better audio, how you can have better camera placement, how you can bring more passion to it, how you can maybe look at the screen better. And we're going to talk about it in terms of, what's the rubric? What kinds of things are we looking at when we're trying to tell our stories? So I'm going to go ahead and grab today's topic. And let me copy the, why can't I copy the topic? Join code, I don't want that. Should be on, share, duh. Here it is. And I'm just going to copy it. And let's see. You'll have to log in with your William & Mary account and make an account. So I'll give you about 5 minutes to make an account if you don't have one. If you can't make one, let me know, and then I'll send everyone to the breakout rooms. So I'm going to put this in the chat. And then you can go ahead and I'll send you to your own private rooms and you can make your recordings. So there's the Flipgrid link. If you're afraid and you don't want to do it right now, you can do it later. And then what we'll do is we'll review these for next time and we'll sort of say what we liked, what are exemplars, what we kind of want to emulate, what we might want more of, what we might want less of. And that's what we'll do next time. We'll get together, we'll talk about basics of improving your video. Audio is the most important thing. Yeah, Fred.
Do we join with Google or join with Microsoft? Join with Microsoft?
If you've got a William & Mary Google account, you can join with that. Otherwise, go ahead and you can join with Microsoft.
Thank you.
Oh, right. Flipgrid does not work in Safari, so you need to open it up in Chrome. Yeah. You shouldn't be using Safari anyway. I hate to say that. I know there are people who love Safari. Troy's shaking his head. No, he likes Safari.
Would this be in the same place as Sway and those kind of things? Office 365?
No, it's not. It's its own thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and if people have trouble getting to Flipgrid, shoot me an email and I'll make sure that you get into it tomorrow and you can do your recording tomorrow. And everyone can, so where can you watch the videos? I'm going to share the slideshow with you after this, and then you'll be able to watch the videos. So here we go. I'm going to send everyone to your breakout rooms, and we'll go for about 5 minutes, and you'll do your recordings, and I'll see you in, I'll call everyone back who can make it back at around 8:02 for a farewell and to talk about what we're going to do next time. If you can't, then I'll just see you next time. But I hope you'll be able to stay, and I'm going to go ahead and create those breakout rooms for everyone. Hey folks, Mike Bloom here from the Studio for Teaching and Learning Innovation. We had a session for video production yesterday, and we talked about Flipgrid and using Flipgrid, and some people had trouble using it. So I thought it might be worth going over and talking about how to go through Flipgrid and make it work for you. And the thing here, recording to your video camera is not the most natural thing in the world, and if you're not used to it, feel free to do it over again until you do feel comfortable. I've recorded literally hundreds of hours of myself on video, and it's taken a long time for me to practice enough so that I'm comfortable enough, and I still make lots of flubs. So to make yourself comfortable, to think about that audience, it really helps to keep practicing over and over again. But now here I've got Flipgrid open. So now here I've got Flipgrid open, and so this is my personal account, my teacher's account. And you can create a teacher's account for yourself, but what I should have done yesterday is I should have given you this join code, which is Bloom9640 for this particular Flipgrid. So that's the easiest way for you to get in. And let me go to another browser. And again, I'm actually in Google Chrome. I find it works best either on the Mac or on the PC. To be in Google Chrome. If you don't have Google Chrome, it's a very easy download. You can just search for Google Chrome and you'll be able to download it. But now you'll see here I'm logged in to flipgrid.com, and actually I'm not logged in yet. And this is the page I get before I log in. So I'm not logged in as myself, and now I can enter a join code. And that join code for this particular Flipgrid is Bloom9640. So I'm just going to type that in. And this will make it easier for people who weren't able to connect to Flipgrid yesterday to connect. And I'll hit the go to my topic. And now I get the choice to join with Google or join with Microsoft. So I can choose either one. I'm not going to remember me. But I have, for Google, I have my William & Mary Google G Suite account. So I'm going to log in with that other account. That's not my actual William & Mary Microsoft account. So you'll see what it looks like for somebody with an email.wm.edu to join. And this is how your students would join if you create a Flipgrid for them. And now here I'm going to put in mxbloom@email.wm.edu, and I'll say next. And now it's going to ask me for my authentication, my William & Mary authentication, and I'll put that in and I'll say login. And it'll probably ask me for my authentication, so I'll have it authenticate. It's a little bit of a pain in the neck. And now I've authenticated. And now my login is successful, and it takes me right to today's topic. And I can jump in and I can record a response. And it's going to ask me if I can use the microphone and your camera, and I'll say allow. And now here I am in front of my green screen, but that's fine. You can be in front of your green screen or whatever you want to be in front of. And I'm going to hit the record button. And it'll give me a countdown. Hey, this is Mike. I'm doing a recording here to show people some of the steps that they'll need to create their own Flipgrid in response to the topic that we've created for our assignment for next week. So if you have an opportunity, remember what we're asking is for you to basically give a description of what we're going to be doing in today's podcast or in today's video segment that you're going to be teaching students. So in this particular one, I'm talking about how to get Flipgrid to work. So Flipgrid is a really great tool. The thing I love about Flipgrid is that once you get it working, it's really easy for your students to create their video content, and then for other students to go in and either leave a video comment or a text comment if they would like. And it's a really great way to get feedback and to have students give other students the kind of guidance that they need to improve their product. So you see I made a couple of flubs. It's not a big deal. I can go back in post-production and I can take those things out. Anyway, I hope you have success this time, and I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Hey, this is Mike. I'm doing I watch a little bit of it and I say next. Here to show people. And now I can take a selfie if I want. I'm not going to take a selfie. I can give it a link optional. Well, why don't I take a selfie? So I'll take a selfie. So now here I am, and I look at the camera. I'll do my best, go on a mic pose. And now there it is. That's kind of a cute picture. And I can even put some effects in there. I'll say effects, and I will say, let's do a filter. That's a goofy filter. Oh, look at that. Okay, I'm going to keep that, and I'll say confirm. And that's it, and I'll say submit. Oh, I'll put a description in there. Mike describes how to use Flipgrid. And I'll say submit. And we're done. I'll hit done, and then there I am. And so go ahead and give it a try, and I'll be happy to know what your reaction is to it, and how well you were able to download the software. Actually, there's nothing to download. See, if I were in post-production, I would cut this stuff completely out. But I'll just keep talking, because we're going to do post-production next week.
Did you not get in?
Oh, it's more complicated than I thought.
Yes.
Oh,
They said it's not. They said you can't use Safari, and I use Safari fine.
Oh, I think it's like bias.
Okay.
Remember when it was just Google, it was just Apple and Microsoft.
Mhm.
The
good old days.
or the other.
Yep.
It's definitely a very different experience from a classroom. We just depend so much on personal charisma, and then suddenly you have to be on a screen.
You have personal charisma. What are you talking about?
I'm saying it's so much easier in the classroom than on Zoom.
It is. It is. It takes practice. It takes practice, and it takes shifting your perspective on who your audience is and where your audience is. And now, one thing that I wanted to point out, though, let's see if people are actually back. I'm going to go to gallery view again. I'm going to ask everyone to come back, because I really do want to talk about the difference between when we were talking to each other and when we were talking to the monitor, because I think that's a really important distinction to make. And Mona, you're exactly right. It's not natural, and it does take practice. But as you know, as educators, everything takes practice. And to be comfortable talking to a monitor, talking to a screen, I mean, think about how comfortable you were the first time you walked into a classroom to teach to a group of students. Probably not very comfortable. I know I wasn't very comfortable. The first time I taught in front of a group of students, I was teaching English at Thomas Nelson Community College. And I was really shy, and my heart used to pound like crazy because I was very, very stressed out. So I had this technique where I would run up and down the stairs so that my heart would be going from exhaustion rather than from just white-knuckled fear of being in the classroom. And then I wouldn't know the difference. But I walked into that first class and I'm like, is this English 101? And they say, yeah, take a seat. And they were not happy when the seat I took was in the front of the class. So, because I was younger than most of the students there at the time. So yeah, but it's not natural to talk in front of a classroom. At least it wasn't for me. Just the same way that it's not natural to talk to a video camera when there's no one else in the room. So let's think though about the differences that we had when we had that audience in the first breakout session and we were all alone in that second breakout session. And I did that on purpose so that you could really see what that difference is and how important having an audiences to your delivery. So when you're thinking about doing your recordings and you're thinking about making that connection with students, how are you going to get that connection with the audience? Maybe instead of having a video camera to look at, you do a cutout of like somebody, or you put a picture of somebody that you can talk to over there. I know that programmers have a little rubber duck that they talk to, because otherwise they'll go crazy just drinking Mountain Dew. But who's your audience? Who are you talking to? If I'm talking to a monitor, if I'm talking to a video camera, I'm going to get terrible results. So whenever I do my tutorials, and you may have seen a tutorial or two of mine, I'm always talking to you. I always care about my audience. I always care about who you are. But it's taken me a long time to get to that point where I can envision all of you and I can envision all the people that I'm helping with my tutorials. And I don't care if I mess up. If I mess up, I know either it'll stay in my video because it makes me real, or it'll be out of my video because I know some editing tricks that we're going to learn in episode 3 of this. So it's 8:06. I've kept you too long. Hopefully everyone will join me for the next one when we talk about bringing all of the tricks that we have. We're going to learn about having a teleprompter. We're going to learn about having a green screen. I'm going to send you a video on how to make your own green screen really cheap and really easy. If you go to Joanne Fabric and you get this ugly green stuff. And we're going to talk about a lot of other cool stuff. How are you going to get maybe a better microphone? Maybe you're going to get better camera position. Maybe you'll get better lighting. I have a ring light over here so that my face is illuminated a little bit better. And we're going to have fun. And the idea is not to make it perfect. The idea is to make it better than what you've gotten so far. That's always the idea. Anyway, it's been really wonderful.
Thank you.
Talking to everyone. And I'm really looking forward to talking to everyone next time.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Have a great evening.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you.